Hello and welcome to Experts Eating Cake. I'm your host, Michelle Thomas. I run the Happy Business Club and I love eating cake and I love speaking to people who know their onions. Today, we are going to be speaking to the lovely Julie Harris. And the thing that she's an expert in is she sees into your soul. She looks through your eyes, through the lens, sees into your soul, finds the most amazing parts of you, brings them out and plops them onto your photographs, and then you have them forever and ever to see how amazing you actually are. And I'm going to be talking about all the things that she knows about. So you've got to stay tuned because you're going to find out exactly what this woman knows. And it is phenomenal. But more than that, we are going to be eating some epic cake. Let me bring her on. Come on, Julie.
Hello, hi.
Hello. Yes, you're here. And you've got a total treat for me today, haven't you, Julie?
A total treat, absolutely. And thank you for that intro. I couldn't have put it better myself. Oh my goodness.
I'm good at stuff like that. This is why we needed to have this show. So tell me about the cake that you brought for us today. For you, you're going to be eating it, not me.
Yeah, so I haven't even touched it yet, and I'm so excited about it. They're cupcakes, but it's more about who has created them for me, isn't it? It's just amazing. So I had a networking meeting yesterday, and Paula Goulden of Cakes by P came along for the first time, and we're all, talking about her businesses and connecting and everything. And she's got 2 businesses, and she wasn't going to talk about her cake business. I don't know why, because they're amazing. And she was like talking about cake. And as I'm listening, I'm like, hold on a minute, I'm doing a podcast or recording podcasts about cake. And I'm like, I told her, and I'm like, oh, it's a shame we couldn't have sorted anything out. She's like, no, I will bring the cakes down and you can put your logos on it and you can put Michelle's logos on it. It'll be amazing. Like, oh my God, mind blown. That is amazing. So
and the thing is, it comes full circle because I met Paula back end of last year at a networking meeting. Yeah. And I was just I just fell in love with her beautiful, warm personality, her friendliness, and just the fact that she loves cake and she makes cake all the time. I mean, she's got to be one of my business besties because, I'm all about the cake. And I need a cake person on my side. I know there's lots of cake people, but we need a nice cake person on our side. And I think it kind of proves that how great a cake person she is. So come on, show us the goods, Julie.
Right. So what we've got, I'm going to pick up 2 of them. So they are both branded as well.
So show us your branding one.
So I've got 2. So I've got my logo there.
Oh, gorgeous.
Also my little icon as well.
That's nice.
I've got those. They're really lovely.
Love it. And show us the other one. I'm excited about the other one as well.
And there's yours.
Oh my God, there's the party pineapple. There's Pete. Right, come on. We've got to take a bite and tell us exactly how it tastes.
I was photographing this morning. I kept touching the icing and licking the icing a bit. I'm like, no, can't eat it yet. And I nearly caved, but I didn't.
Yeah, well, I've got my cake and my backup cake as well, just in case the first cake accidentally got eaten. But they're still here.
I'm going to do that thing that, it's a great big, it's a lovely little icing topper. But that's in half and sandwich it together.
That's a great idea. Fabulous tip. I want to watch you do this. Go on.
Do that.
Yes.
Do that. Cake sandwich.
Go on. Eat it. I'm so excited.
So soft. It's so soft and fluffy.
Is it a vanilla sponge?
Yes, and is it a sponge and a vanilla icing as well? So but the cake is so friggin' soft. It's like if I bake, I don't get them like this at all. So that is delicious.
All right, you have another one. I will tell you what cake I have got. That was cupcakes by Paula Goulden, Cakes by P, and she's based. Where's she based again?
Earlham. Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to find out exactly how moist and soft and yummy that cake is, I really do, then you need to go over to see Paula. Yes, I shall be checking her out. And links are in the show notes below. So if anybody wants to see all of Paula's stuff, all her cakes, we'll pop her details in the show notes below. Right, I'm going to go get mine.
This is just amazing. I'm going to eat all.
You eat that. I'm sliving. I'm dribbling here, and I'm going to tell you about my cake. So I've got 2 cakes. I've got a cake and a backup cake. If you can see that there. This cake here is an apple cake. It's a homemade apple cake. Now on Sunday, I was telling my husband what I was doing this week. I said, "Oh, I've got a recording this week with somebody and we're going to be eating cake. I need to get a cake." That's all I said. I left the kitchen, came downstairs, did a bit of work, went back up into the kitchen. And lo and behold, there was a cake just sitting there on the side. And this is how great my husband is. I absolutely love him to bits because he bakes me cake just on a whim. But the silly thing is, he left this cake on the side. He went off to the shop, and I thought, well, I couldn't resist. I just couldn't resist. I had to test the cake. So I took a little slice off the end, ate the cake, and when he came back, he did his nut at me because he hadn't finished making the cake because he wanted to put a topping on it as well. So very, very sorry, Alan. But I'm going to be eating this cake now, and I'm going to be telling everybody it's been in the fridge for a couple of days, so I've had to soften it up. Oh, this apple cake, and it's got a topping. Oh my God, I'm dribbling here. It's got a topping, like a caramel topping, but I think it's minty caramels. So,
oh, lovely.
Oh my God. Still good. Absolutely amazing. My husband makes a lovely cake.
Oh, he's so lucky. It's amazing.
Oh. How are you getting on with your cake?
Oh, it's gone. Not all 6, just the first one.
Okay, well, are you going to eat all 6?
Well, I think my daughter will kill me and my son will kill me if I do eat all 6, but I might have 2.
Yeah. Have one of the happy business club cakes as well, and let me know how that is as well.
Do you know what all this reminds me of? So there's, for any like Mamma Mia fans, you know Mamma Mia, was it the second one? There's a scene there where one of Donna's friends is talking about eating cake.
Ooh.
Yeah, so every time you say cake, it just reminds me of that scene. She's sort of like, she's eating cake as a solace too. She didn't get the man she wanted, I think, or something like that.
Oh, I just eat cake because it's nice.
Yeah.
Right. We want to we've got stuck into the cake. We want to get stuck into the whole business of you being an expert. What have you done? Oh, you're having a bit more.
Sure,
a bit more of my cake. Right, we'll get into the whole business of you being an expert. One of the things that I really want to do in this Experts Eating Cake is to make sure that the people who I follow, admire, I'm inspired by, that I get to meet on a regular basis, because like we said earlier on, we go networking and we speak to people all the time, and we mingle and we find out about each other, we tell each other stories. And I'd quite like for people to, in my community, so the Heart-Led Small Business community, I'd like them to find out very much about the person who they're meeting, because I think sometimes we just don't get the opportunity to see what you're all about, what you know, what your experience is, where your heart is, and how you can actually help as an expert in your field. Now, I've said that you are an expert in, looking through your lens, seeing into somebody's soul, pulling out the best of them and putting it onto a photograph. And essentially that is what you do for a living. That is what you do day in, day out. And in terms of being an expert, it's something that you've done for a very long time. How long have you been in this business?
So I've been in the photography business for just over 13, it's coming up to 14 years in October.
Fabulous.
So a long time.
And how long have you worked for yourself?
For 14 years.
So right from the off.
Yeah, right
from the off. Right. So what I'd like to do is I've gave you a couple of questions to have a ponder about, so that we can actually give the best value that we possibly can around brand photography, around what it actually is, what you specialize in, why it's important, what people need to know about it, what are the misconceptions and things like that. And what I'll do is I'll ask you a couple of questions, and we'll allow you to go into as much depth as you need to make sure that your expertise really comes out. So let's start with the first question, if I can find it on my bits of paper. Right. Okay. So Can you tell me a little bit about what your business is to start off with?
So my business is the business of brand photography. It's about, creating marketing assets for business owners, and that enables them to market themselves and attract their ideal client in the unique way that they need to do it. I mean, that's like in a little nutshell, but probably, as you know, there's a lot that goes around that. And I had a beautiful analogy that came to my head this morning, and I'm now calling it the photography sandwich.
Cakes and sandwiches. We're going to have a party soon. Tell us more about the sandwich.
Right. Oh, okay then. So I'm a photographer and I take photos. Okay. A photo takes a fraction of a second to take. Okay. So that's why lots of people do it. That's why lots of people think, oh, I can just do it myself. It just takes a second to take. Mm-hmm. But that's sort of like, that's the photograph in the middle of this sandwich.
Yeah.
Inside are some big pieces of bread that hold it all together. And it's what goes before taking that photograph. It's getting to know people, it's delving into them, their business, what makes them tick, identifying their mind blocks, why they're not doing it, why they're not using images. And that's massive, that's huge. Yeah. I don't think we always realise that that's what we've got, and that is what is holding us back. So that's a massive thing to work on. And I see people sort of like, just coming out from underneath their shell and deciding they want to do it. But to get to that point, it's taken quite a long time. So that's what I mean, sort of like the pre-thoughts and also pre-work that I do. And then the other side of the sandwich is when you've got images, it's not a given that you're going to use them, because you might think, oh my God, I can't do this. I'm really scared. I can't put images out of myself. Who do I think I am? So you then talk yourself into maybe not using them, or just use them in a little bit, or maybe not in the right way. So then it's my job to coach you and say, right, okay, that's not the end of it. Now we need to look at them and identify what we did at the beginning to say how we're going to use them. I'm going to help you use them a little bit at a time, or the messages that we created around them as well, and how we're going to do that. So that's what I'm now calling the photography.
I love that. I love the fact that you've identified exactly the issues that people have with photographs. It's like you said, anybody can take a photograph. I mean, the phones, the cameras that we have on our phones now are probably far superior in terms of technology than they were 15 years ago when you started, like the big cameras that you spent a lot of money on. So it's not the actual photograph itself, it's how you place the photograph into the world so that you can show people exactly who you are. And when you're a heart-led small business owner, you are your biggest asset. And for you to be able to do it in a way that's confident and shows the real you is an absolute skill. It is definitely an area of expertise. And I absolutely agree with you in terms of the pieces of the sandwich and how all that comes together. I absolutely love that analogy. I want you to expand a little bit further on that analogy. What I'd like you to do is to tell people who are watching this, and if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you get your notifications, and check out all the links below, because if you need to know anything more about Julie Harris, the personal brand photographer extraordinaire, and all that's going to be in the show notes as well. So hit that subscribe button now. But what we want to find out is the average small business owner, and none of us are average. I know that. But the average small business owner who wants to learn about how this all works, and I know you started it all off by creating this sandwich, but there's going to be the very basics of how that actually looks if they come in to do some brand photography, how you go about it. What are the important things that people need to know in terms of brand photography? As an expert, you tell us what we need to know.
And I think it's really important that, and I call it the brand story. And people are like, oh, what's a brand story? What does that mean? And what it means is, if you've got to talk about the things that you do to somebody who doesn't know what you do, you can do it with text. You can tell them. What an image says so much more. So it might be all the things that you think are quite bland and boring, but they're not bland and boring, because if people don't know what you do, let's take cake as an example. Cake maker. People are nosy and they want to see behind the scenes. So one of the most powerful images you can create are behind the scenes imagery. And that's sort of like in your environment. It can be the delicate way you make something with your hands. It can be like the tools that you use, all these sort of things. People love to know about that sort of thing, So you can take images of that yourself. So that's like one stage. But then when you employ a branding photographer, they'll take that to the next level and say, right, okay, so let's try and style this up a little bit. Let's try and think about how we're going to do it. We need good lighting. We need maybe the area cleaned a little bit more, and actually think about what are you saying when you're posting or using an image of behind the scenes. You're trying to say that you're an expert in what you do, that you're very dexterous maybe with your hands, that you care about what you do. There's quality there. So there's so many different layers of words that you can explain and show through an image of just from a behind the scenes photograph when it's staged and done correctly with a brand expert. So that's just amazing behind the scenes that I love. So it can be done strategically and stylized, or you can just do it yourself. So you can take it on multi levels to do that, and that's just one thing.
Yeah, exactly. There's just literally just one thing. There's so many other parts of brand photography, especially when you go deeper down into the layers. Can you tell us something about some of the things, like the misconceptions that people have about brand photography and the way that you do the work? Some of the things that people have thought, I thought it was going to be like this, and it's not like that at all.
Yeah, and it's a real shame. I think a lot of people think, it's not for them. It's for really confident business owners, people who in women's eyes think are slimmer, taller, have got better hair or whatever. I think it's all for them, but it's not for that at all. A lot of very people who appear to be confident, underneath have got the same sort of like blocks as well. Yeah. So it's like, what I say is you need to work with a photographer who's going to make you feel confident, who understands you. So it's not expensive when you think of the return on investment you get over a long period of time, but it is an investment.
Yes.
But it's affordable at different levels, with different packages, different prices that I do, and I know other photographers do as well. But most important, I think it's when people think, it's not for me, I'm not confident enough, I don't look right, I don't this or whatever. There's ways you can take photographs with lighting, angles, background, staging, styling, all of that can, if you want, disguise the bits that you maybe don't feel quite so confident about. So you can use an image. You can have images without you in it that translate your brand, maybe not your face in it. Really creative ways of creating images. So I think what it is, people think brand photography is photos of you.
Yeah.
And it is photos of you, but it's also images that communicate your brand, and that's lots of other things as well. And that's where the first part of the sandwich comes in, when we identify those things that communicate what your business and what your brand is.
Yeah. I think the other thing is, from personal experience, I've noticed that brand photography has a lot of longevity about it. So if you manage to create and capture images that tell a story that's at the core of who you are, so the core of everything that you do, as you evolve into a business or through your business or scale up or whatever it is that you do, quite often the photographs that are taken tell the story that's always going to be there, the story of the person. I mean, your likes and your ideas and the way that you feel about things are unlikely to change. Your tastes are unlikely to change. And if they're coming through as a story, you can use that indefinitely, because it's going to make a massive difference to the way that people perceive you. I'm thinking in terms of when I had brand photography done just over a year ago. I didn't know you then, otherwise I could possibly have come and had it done then. But one of the pictures that I use everywhere very liberally, and I think it's one of those things that people see it more often, they associate that with me. So I'm sure that you've probably seen it, if you've been on my socials, is the picture of me, my face with the pineapple on my head. And I have a lot of people who actually, when I meet them for the first time, you're the lady with the pineapple on the head. Now the story behind that is that my logo is a pineapple, and I wanted a pineapple. There's lots of reasons, but the main reason is because it's fun, it's sweet, it's juicy, it's got connotations of wealth and friendship, and that's what I wanted to portray in my logo. So that different type of branding as in visuals, in terms of graphics and things like that. But I took that and I brought it as a prop to a photo shoot that we were having done on an in-person work day.
Yeah.
And I took it. The story behind it. The story behind it was really silly because we had our little slots. You know, when somebody went, the next person would get ready, and we were in the middle of a work day, and the person next to me had already gone. So I noticed that they'd gone. I thought, well, I must be next. I better get ready. So I didn't take any makeup or anything like that. Brought my props, and I got this pineapple out of my bag, just put it on the desk, ready for me to go. And as soon as I put it on the desk, all eyes looked at me. And you could hear it. The room just kind of like went silent. You could hear the brains ticking. It's like, what the hell is that pineapple doing on the table? And everybody burst out laughing. It's one of those, you know, moments when everybody kind of never forgets. And we went on to use that in the brand photography because that was very much a part of the way my story and the way that I like to do things. And I still use that to this day. And it still really tells that story of, you know, the vibrancy, the fun, the excitement, the silliness. And I can probably use it indefinitely because the pineapple's never going to go away, and the whole story behind that is never going to go away. I mean, yeah, I'm going to get some new ones done at some point in the not too distant future. I know where to go. But even so, those are there. They will last me. They have a story behind them, and I think telling your story is very important in this day and age because we're all on social media. We want to get to know each other, but with so many people out there and with so many faces to remember and, you know, stories to remember, it's the ones that are true and real and honest are the ones that you connect with the most. And I think in terms of everything that you do, that is probably one of the biggest, as far as I can see, one of the biggest things that you do.
It is, and also your image with the pineapple, it enables you to have a conversation when you're face to face with someone straight away. It's like if people ask, you're straight in there, you've got a conversation. It helps you have that conversation, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you're like scrolling, like sending people messages of when you've got tiny little images, I can look out for yours because I know you've got pineapple on top, you know. So it's about creating like a visual structure within that tiny space as well that is instantly recognizable for people.
Yeah.
You know? So.
And sometimes you just need help in making sure that that's the kind of thing that happens. I could never have taken those photographs myself. I mean, I take a good selfie. They're usually, my selfie face is this. And it winds my mum up no end. She says, why can't you take a normal photograph? So I said, I don't know. My face just goes like that whenever somebody points a camera at me. It takes an expert to stop me from doing that, I think.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
So you've been doing it for quite a long time, and did you say 14 years?
14 years. We've only started doing branding towards the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, so that'll be the niching down and providing a service, but the actual photography and learning your craft and everything like that. So you've been doing it for 14 years. In that 14 years, from the beginning, what are some of the most surprising things that you have found about photography and how people how you are with people, or how you find out about people, and the most surprising things? What's come across?
Oh my gosh, now they put me on the spot. I'm trying to think now about the most surprising things about people. About people, I think that I've learned is about misconceptions before you've even met somebody. It's like, you know, someone can make an inquiry, like when I used family photography, you know, they come in and no matter what I thought or expected or presumed, it would be completely different from what they wanted, maybe to how much they wanted to spend, what sort of products they wanted to use. With business owners as well. I think with business owners, one of the things I've learned is that I'm an introvert and I'm quite used to sort of like stepping back and just watching what's going on. So in my mind's eye, I see everybody else as much more sort of like confident, outgoing and knowledgeable and blah, blah, blah. That's just like my inner thing that I can't. So when I see people coming to me like, oh, they're amazing, they are amazing, but they'll come to me and they have got all the same sort of, I'm not very confident about this and I don't like my this and I don't like my that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're kidding me. You look incredible, you know. So one of the things I like to do is to say that I do hold up the mirror that I see to them. Because if someone will come for a shoot who's got, you know, in my mind looks amazing, he's gorgeous, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, I'm really unsure about doing this. And I'm like, right, what I can see is this is an amazing business owner, woman who's expert in what she does. She looks amazing. You know, everybody's, I'm a little bit, not in a weird way, but obsessed with faces and expressions.
I think it's amazing. I love it. I love it.
So I just see people all the time, and I don't know, I just see them for who they are and love what they look like and who they are. And I just want to show them what I see. I just want to show them. I'm like this, oh my gosh, just let me show you what I see. I don't care that you think you're too fat, too whatever, too thin, too tall. You look amazing as you are. And I just want to reflect that back to you and show you.
It's what I was saying about looking into their soul and pulling all the best bits out. It's exactly that.
About it.
All right, then. Let's go back to cake for a minute. If you could eat the most ultimate cake in the whole wide world, and it's the last cake that you ever eat, right? I'm going to put this proviso in. It's the last cake that you ever eat. What is that cake going to be?
Well, I've got lots of favourite cakes, but, and this is no word of a lie, after tasting that cupcake, I pretty much think it's got to be one of those.
With your face on it. With your face on it.
Yeah. It was like eating a soft, fluffy pillow. It was like a marshmallow of a cupcake. It was gorgeous. Honestly, it was really, really gorgeous.
I'm just going to have a little bit more cake because I'm in mouth dribbling again. Hold on.
So Paula would have to make me a giant-sized cupcake like that, light and fluffy and.
I'm eating my backup cake.
What's your backup?
Crumbs. Backup cake from the corner shop. You can't beat a good cherry bakewell. Well, you can beat a good cherry bakewell, but in this country where you can't get my favourite cake, you can't really beat a good cherry bakewell.
So what's your favourite cake then?
Ooh. Wow. There's a cake in Germany called Bienenstich.
All right.
Which is, I think, translates as bee sting.
Yeah.
And it's a layer of like a yeasty cake, not dough, but as in cake.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's got a solid, like a creme pat, so like a custardy type. Then it's got another layer of the yeasty cake, and then it's topped off with a layer of caramelized almond flakes that have been caramelized in honey, and it usually comes in a big massive tray.
Yeah.
And when I was 6 or 7, I used to go to Germany quite regularly for the holidays because my auntie used to live there in a place called Wolfsburg, and there was this bakery, and it was my favorite place in the whole planet. It even beat the pizza shop next door.
Right.
The pizza shop always smelled really nice, but the bakery, when I walked in there, it was like coming home. And they had this Bienenstich, and it was my favorite cake. And every time I went to Germany, I'd have it. Come to this country, can you get it in this country? I've only ever had it once, and that's when I went to London Bridge many years ago. And they have, the market, the food market there, and there was a German cake stall, and they had it, and I was so happy that day. But that's my cake. What was that?
Did it live up to expectations?
Always does.
Yeah.
Always. And the last time I had it was about 5 or 6 years ago. I went to Berlin for Oktoberfest with my sister-in-law, and we spent 2 days looking for a bakery that actually had it. And on the last day, when we were seriously hungover, down a little back street where all the shops were shut, we managed to find a bakery. So I bought the biggest slab, ate it outside the shop, and then took the rest of it home and enjoyed it again. Never had it since. So Bakewell tarts is going to have to do.
Right.
I've got to say, though, that between my husband's apple cake with the minty toffee sauce on it and the cherry bakewell, even though as a general rule cherry bakewell would win, my husband's cake actually tastes better.
Got to, hasn't it, really? It's got to.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was our cake interlude. I want to go back to you being an expert. One of the things I think that sets people apart in terms of being an expert is how often they do something till they're really good at it. They do something that other people struggle with because they've not learned how to do it. They've not put the time and the experience and everything. That's what makes you an expert. And it's about solving problems. So you solve a problem again and again and again and again and again, which makes you really good at something. What is that problem that you generally solve?
Right. So I'm trying to be as specific So the problem I solve is a problem for business owners who are really good at what they do, but they're hiding behind what it is that they do. And they need to shout about it. So I help them create the visual means to do that, to enable them to shout about it. And using themselves as that unique pivot point for that. So it enables them to then, I talk about the photographs almost like being the shield of confidence. When you have those images, when you have those marketing assets, you can then push them forward for you. They can speak for you. So then they give you the confidence then to step up and be what you want to do.
It all comes down to the feeling, isn't it? It always comes down to the feeling of feeling confident. When you're confident in your business, it allows you to step up to the plate and be better at your business, be more successful, help more people, and do the thing that you were meant to do. I absolutely love the fact that you, very much in the same way that I do, you love to help people to step up to the plate and be the person that they're meant to be. Okay, so tell me what exciting thing that you've got coming up, because we know that something's coming. We know that there's something coming. The exciting thing that you want to tell everybody about, that they can jump all over to work with you. Tell me about it. When, where, how much, all of this. Tell me.
So my really exciting thing that I've got coming at the moment. So I'm working with Kerry Boland, and
yes, we like Kerry.
We love Kerry. And we're really different as well. We're really different in our personalities, which I think is really cool.
Nobody's like Kerry.
That's true. So we have created a strategy and shoot day. And it's going to be in my studio, which is where I'm at the moment. That's my viewing room there, and my shooting space is over there. It's an amazing space, and it's like just recently I've not discovered, but realised that this studio is a safe place for those nervous business owners to come to have photographs taken in this set. There's nobody watching, there's nobody looking, and we create magic. So me and Kerry are going to create even more magic for people on strategy and shoot day, whereas they can come and work with Kerry to develop their sales strategy for whatever they're promoting that moment. So once they've created that strategy, then they need to shout about it. And because we're all working together on the day, while we're doing that, it's like, well, actually, what you need from this, you need a headshot that shows you laughing really hard to really explain what you do, or you need some images of you sitting at a desk on a podcast, or maybe you need some images of you quietly sitting there writing, contemplating what you do. Whatever comes out of that strategy session in the morning, in the afternoon, we've then got the opportunity with various setups that we've got to create the images that you need to complement the strategy that you've done in the morning. So it's incredible. You'll go away at the end of the day with the images that we've created, with the strategy that you have, and then you can go forward and promote what it is your area.
It's the total sandwich, isn't it? It's a total sandwich. Right, so when is this going to be happening?
So it's happening on February the 29th, which is a Thursday. So Thursday, February the 29th, it's in my studio, and it is, amazingly, it's $497 for the whole day to get all of that. I know, it's crazy.
Oh my gosh, and just to put it into context, if you were to do a day of brand photography on your own as an individual, without the sales and everything, what kind of price do people usually have to pay for that?
So if I do like an entire experience with somebody, the photography sandwich, it's just under $2,000.
Under $2,000. So you're getting it for $497? Did you say?
$7, yeah.
You're getting something akin to $2,000 package for $497, and not only are you getting Julie, you're also getting the amazing Kerry Boland. Sorry, Kerry. You're going to get the amazing Kerry helping you work on your sales strategy, because ultimately you want to be taking all of who you are, putting it out into the world and creating business around it, creating money, creating business, creating sales, because that's the whole point of the business in the first place. Not the only point, but the whole point of the business, to create it into something that's self-sustaining and allows you to grow as a person and allows you to grow as a business. So it's a phenomenal opportunity. If you are thinking about getting your branding done, if you're thinking about that you might need a little bit of extra help to make sure that it's working, you're leveraging it. You're basically leveraging it. You're using it to its maximum advantage so that you can create business off the back of it and invest this kind of money. It is an absolutely phenomenal offer. 29th of Feb. Oh, it's the leap year day, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it's the leap year day. I've just realised that. Yeah, so we're going to put the links down below. Make sure that you get in touch with Julie. She'll see you right. The thing that I want to ask you now is about your golden nugget. I'm going to ask every single expert about their golden nugget. I want you to feel into your heart and tell everybody the most important thing that you could possibly tell anyone about what you do.
I think the most important thing is that I know exactly how they feel because I've gone through exactly the same process. So I do brand photography now and I love it. Prior to that, I used to do families and children and schools. So I didn't have to be visible. It's very, very different working with, the public as opposed to businesses. So I never had to put myself out there. So I started doing brand photography and then realized that I was going to have to do it myself. So I remember the very moment when it's like I'd had my own, because I have my own brand photos taken with very amazing photographers that I know. And so the very first picture that I put out, I remember that anxiety. I remember thinking, oh my God, what am I doing? What are people going to think? What are they going to say? What's going to happen? It's just awful. Honestly, that anxiety was real. But I did it. And it was a big thing pressing that button. You have to press that button. I'm putting that photo, I'm making a decision to put that photo out live of me because I'm saying I'm confident about myself. So it was massive. So I did it. And you know what?
Go on.
Nothing bad happened.
No, of course it didn't. And I bet lots of good stuff happened as well.
Yeah. So many lovely comments. And it's like what it made me realise is what is really important, I think. It's like everybody that knows you knows what you look like. Okay? So when you put a photograph out there, they're not surprised by it because they know what you look like.
Exactly.
They just see a picture of you. So it's not about the picture in itself, it's about your reasons and all those things that we've talked about why you don't want to do it. But the actual act of a photo of you, it doesn't really make any difference because everybody knows what you look like.
Yes.
And if a brand photography session taken, it will be taken in the best light, with the best goals, in the best way.
Of course it will. Of course it will. Right, I'm going to allow you to have a little bit more cake. Are you all for more cake? Or have you had enough by now?
So I'm just going to have a little bit.
I'm going to have a little nibble. Hold on. Right, I'm going to tell you about this topping. Oh my God, it's so good. Do you know what he did? He got a bag of caramel sweets. So the toffee sweets.
Oh yeah.
And he melted them down and he put them on the top of the cake. And they were all in different coloured wrappers. But I don't think he realised that they were all different flavours. So there was a green one in there and he put that in and he made it minty. And I tell you what, it's great. It's absolutely delicious.
I was thinking about who likes a minty caramel. I'm thinking, that's a different flavour, minty caramel. Now I know why.
Yeah.
I've been off the walls now after eating all the sugar. It's amazing.
We'll leave it a little while longer before you come back again and tell us about other expertise that you have, because I'll make you eat more cake then. Right. So one thing I want you to tell me, because I've been dying to find out. I've been dying to ask you this question ever since we jumped on. Tell me about losing your hand, or almost losing your hand. Tell me the story.
So but it was so was it about 4 or 5 years ago? So yeah, I was doing like family photography and stuff like that, and it was and school photography. I was doing school photography, and it was really, really stressful. It was really stressful, and I think I got to a point where I pushed myself to the max, really. So I ended up going into hospital, and with a suspected heart attack. So they thought I'd had a heart attack, and it was like so I've got clients due to the studio as well. So as the clients turned up at the studio, the ambulance turned up at the same time to take me to hospital. So that was all a bit traumatic. But anyway, so I went and they said, you've had a heart attack, so you've got to have all these tests and everything.
Oh my gosh.
One of the tests they do is where, I can't remember what it's called now, where they inject the dye.
I don't know what it's called, but yeah, I know what you mean.
So they inject dye into your bloodstream to see if there's any blockages or anything like that. Now, I am the most squeamish person in the world. I hate needles, I hate hospitals, I just can't. The thought of it now is giving me palpitations.
Oh gosh.
So I said to them, like, you need to put me out for this, because if you put a needle, you need to put me out, because it's just not going to happen. Like, oh no, you'll be fine. You won't remember anything. It'll be absolutely fine. I'm like, no, you're going to have to knock me out. But they wouldn't, so they didn't. So they gave me something, but I can remember being wheeled in there, you know, I can remember everything. And then as they're doing it, I remember everybody rushing into the room, and basically they punctured an artery or a vein when they did it. And I remember, so what happens is they punched, so then it bled into my arm, so my entire arm was one big bruise.
Oh my God.
And still under the anaesthetic, the nurses then had to come and massage the blood out of my arm.
Ooh.
I remember still under a little bit of anaesthetic saying, oh, I'm not going to lose my arm, am I? And nobody looked at me.
No.
And so they had to come every 15 minutes to massage it out of my arm. And eventually afterwards, I did speak to someone. I said, what would have happened, you know, if you had been doing all this massage? I said, well, you would have probably, the blood supply to your arm.
Oh gosh.
So
we're just very grateful that it all turned out very well, because losing your arm probably would have really impacted the work.
So I'm not going to lose my arm, because I'm a photographer. There's just none of them looked at me thinking, well, actually, yeah, you might. So we need to get on with that massaging thing. So, yeah.
Oh gosh.
They pulled it out the back then, but it wasn't very nice. So
no, I can imagine. I can only imagine. Well, thank you so much, Julie, for coming on and being such a wonderful guest. I am still very jealous that you got to eat those cakes and I didn't, even though my cakes were fine. Thank you very much to Alan, my husband, for making my cake, because that guy is just the bomb.com. He is just amazing. Thank you to Paula Golden for making the cakes. And if anybody wants to see Julie's details about her upcoming event, please check the show notes. There'll be a link in there, and we'll get you on your way and out into the world telling your story as the amazing person that you absolutely are. Thank you so much, Julie.
Thank you.
That was the amazing Julie Harris. I've had the honor of meeting her on networking event. If you enjoyed that, there's going to be more to come. We're going to be putting these out weekly, and there's going to be all sorts of experts in all different types of fields talking about lots and lots of different things. We've got quite a few amazing guests already booked in. I'm Michelle Thomas. I run the Happy Business Club, and I'm a happiness coach, just in case you didn't already know that. And I work one-to-one with clients as well. So I class myself as a small business owner, a heart-led small business owner. And if you like the way that I do things, then you can always get in touch with me. Join one of our groups. We've got a great Facebook group, or you can reach out, and I do lots of one-to-one work as well, very much in the same way that Julie pulls out amazing things from people and shows them exactly who they are, very much in the same way that I love to do that and make sure that you get the ultimate chance to be happy. I shall see you next time. Bye.